Here tonight is not only wrapping up our lessons learned sub-theme, but this is going to be his last speech in KH Toastmasters, his last speech in Korea, maybe unless he visits in the future, but it may also be his last meeting. We hope to see him next week, but he's leaving the country to China. Tim is on an advanced manual called The Entertaining Speaker, and it's Project 4, a dramatic talk. We have a DTM, which is the highest award in Toastmasters. Joel, can you please tell us the objectives for his speech?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster. This is called a dramatic talk. The objectives are to develop an entertaining talk, about an experience or incident, so entertaining and dramatic. 2, include vivid imagery, characters, and dialogue. 3, deliver the talk in an entertaining manner. And it's 5 to 7 minutes, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. I know it's second round. We're going to have lots of time to talk to Tim. And for some of you, it may be the last time to see him. But I hope for his last speech that you see that you cherish this moment. And let's welcome him to the stage, Mr. Tim Pelletier.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. As Bob stated, I come here before you tonight to deliver my final speech at KH Toastmasters. It's been a long, wild, crazy ride, my time here in Korea. But there's one experience alone that has left the most impact on my life. And it's the first experience I had upon coming to Korea. And I'd like to share that story with you tonight and tell you about what I went through and what happened to me. It all started approximately 3 years ago on a cool summer's evening. You see, I'd been trying to come to Korea for approximately six months. And within that time, I had several different recruiters, and every single recruiter called me and said, I have a job for you. But then it fell through over and over and over again. Well, I ended up thinking that I wasn't coming to Korea. I was a typical deadbeat, arrogant American, stuck without any job and getting more and more in debt every day. Well, you see, finally on that summer's night evening, around midnight, I got a phone call from a recruiter. And he said, I have a job for you. And I said, really? Okay. I said, is this going to cancel in, a day or so? And he says, actually, I have a plane flight for you at 8:30 in the morning on Monday. So I had 2 days to pack up everything I had and move and fly halfway across the world. And so I did. I packed up everything I owned. I said goodbye to all my friends. My parents took me to the airport and I left. Now that part wasn't so hard. But the hard part started there. It took me 3 days, 3 long, intense, elaborate days to get to Korea. 5 different plane flights.
Oh my God.
5. I flew from Boston to North Carolina to Detroit. From Detroit to San Francisco to Tokyo, and Tokyo to Incheon. I had 3 different 12-hour layovers. For 3 days I didn't sleep. For 3 days all I did was eat lots of peanuts and drink lots of beer and get drunk on planes. When I finally arrived in Korea, I arrived in Seoul and I was so relieved to get here. But I was absolutely nervous. I was so energy drained. But I had all this adrenaline going through my veins. When I got off the plane, I easily got through customs to my surprise. And I got out and I was supposed to look for someone with a nice little name tag for me. Well, it didn't happen so easily. You see, when I got out and I'm looking for a name tag, there was nobody there. There was no one there holding up a piece of paper with my name on it. It was at this point that I almost cried. I was so nervous, I was so bent up, that I literally holding my bag squat down and didn't know what to do. It was at this point that I decided that there was only one thing I could do. So I walked outside and I lit up a cigarette. And I was just chain smoking. And it was just so happened that I looked over, and standing off to the side, leaning up against the wall, was what I would now call a drunk Ajushi. Now, he actually wasn't drunk, but to me, that's what he looked like. Now, standing there, holding that crumpled up piece of cardboard, I just happened to notice the last 3 letters of my last name. The I-E-R just happened to stand out right there. And I walked up to him and I was like, but I didn't speak any Korean. I couldn't even say annyeonghaseyo. And he looked at me and he kind of shunned me away. He was, just get away, you stupid, arrogant foreigner. Well, finally I walked up and I ripped the cardboard out of his hand and I go, hey, it's me. Well, finally he understood. He took my bags and he gently tossed them into the back of the van. And there we left. About an hour and a half ride, we moved along up in the Seoul, and upon arriving at my so-called destination, he gently tossed my bags out of the van, and I was there standing on the sidewalk, once again, alone. The cab driver, van driver, he left that wonderful Ajushi, and I was again standing alone. And I again felt this anguish, this, oh my God, what have I done? Like an angel, out of the darkness I heard a voice say, "Teen!" And I looked around, and sure enough, there was a young girl about 14 years old that came down a hill. She said, "Come, come," and I went with her. Now, as I walked up the steepest hill, steeper than Bob's, I finally reached what I thought was my destination, but no. I walked up a winding staircase, and there I was at the front door of my new apartment. As she opened up the door, I saw the most fearful fright I've ever seen in my life, as the new Hyehwa owner and his wife used a garden hose to spray down the ceiling and walls of my apartment. Now he left, saying only 2 words, or 3 I should say. "See you tomorrow," as he handed me a cell phone, looked like it ran over by a truck, and the key to my apartment. Now the reason I tell you this story is this. I'm not going to lie to you. Within about 2 minutes of him leaving, I got on the phone crying to my mom and said, "Get me the F out of here." But here's what I learned. No matter what happened to me over the last 2.5, 3 years, this was probably the worst experience I had. But what I learned is that no matter where you go, no matter what happens, no matter what experience you have, there's a valuable lesson that you can learn from it. And I've learned many from this, not only about culture, but also about myself. I urge you to cherish every memory you have, because it's those memories of those experiences that teach you to be a better person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. Our past president, our good friend, and it's not over yet. We've got second round. Yeah, that is a common card. Yes. One more round of applause. I hope